What up, everybody? This is JP from Off the Ball Network, giving you a recap of the NFL Week 4 of the 2021-2022 season. Before we get into the recaps, make sure you subscribe down below to Off the Ball Network for all your sports needs, and also any lap dances from Meyer too as well. Subscribe down below to Off the Ball Network, and also check us out on our social media platforms, and check us out on offtheballnetwork.com for all your sports needs, articles, podcasts. We've been dropping a lot of articles. Check us out, and also podcast episodes been dropping. Check us out. It is fire. It is great content. Shout out to the guys from Off the Ball Network doing their thing. And speaking of the lap dances by Meyer, we are going to start off with the Jacksonville Jaguars versus the Bengals, where the Jacksonville Jaguars actually played their best game. It was a very close game. Trevor Lawrence played really well. But the Bengals, with the team they have, they surpassed the Jaguars 24-21. Joe Burrow had 348 yards and 2 touchdowns. But like I said, Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars played really well. They played really well, but it wasn't enough for Joe Burrow and the company. And then apparently Urban Meyer didn't fly with the team and went into Columbus with his wife and kids and went to this place and started dancing, and a little small woman come up and giving him a lap dance and everything, and basically it was detrimental to the organization. The organization said that he lost everybody's respect. So we probably might see a firing of Urban Meyer at the end of the season. I don't think it should affect his job, but he needs to understand that things like that you can't really do. If it was a player, it would be so much different, but for a coach to do it is unacceptable. So he has to learn better and live by his words that he preaches every day to that team, and also make sure that he could win games. That's the most important thing, because the Jacksonville Jaguars could go 0-17 easily this season. And they might most likely go 0-17, but other than that, you got to do better. You got to do better. But the Bengals pick up the victory 24-21. Bengals are 3-1. The Washington football team versus the Atlanta Falcons. The Washington football team actually pick up the victory 34-30. Tyler Hinkey, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns. Antonio Gibson, 63 yards, a touchdown running. Terry played a really good game. McLaurin, 6 receptions, 123 yards, 2 touchdowns. Henneke with, just been playing really well, and scored 12 points in the fourth quarter for Washington, but they came back and pick up the victory. They are 2-2, and Atlanta is 1-3. The Bills versus the Texans, that was really not much of a game. Well, the Bills forced 5 turnovers, pretty much overwhelmed Mills and the Texans, since Tyrod Taylor didn't play. 42-0. Josh Allen, 20 out of 29, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 7 receptions, 114 yards. Devin Singletary, 14 carries, 79 yards. So the Bills are 3-1. The Texans are 1-3. The Bills versus the Lions, Justin Fields played really well. They did actually a good job of giving a really good game plan for Justin Fields. Give credit to Coach Nagy and the coaching staff for the Bills. But it's the Lions. The Lions play competitive in the first half, but they didn't really do anything in the first half. They were competitive in the second half, but wasn't enough though. But Jared Goff had 299 yards and 2 touchdowns. David Montgomery from Chicago played really well with 106 yards, 23 carries, 2 touchdowns. He got injured and is going to miss a couple weeks, so that's going to be huge for the Chicago Bears, and they have to look to another weapon. Daryl Mooney from Chicago played really well, 5 receptions, 125 yards. Justin Fields, bounced back with a really good victory after a pitiful last week's loss, but that was on the coaching staff for not getting him ready and prepared. But the Bears are 2-2, beating the Lions 24-14. The Lions might go 0-17 this season, but they might get a victory. They might sneak up a victory this season. We just have to wait and see. The Panthers versus the Cowboys. This is a really good game where you'll see the Panthers still undefeated, and then the Cowboys coming in, at 2-1. And basically, it was really the Ezekiel Elliott's show. Like, Zeke put on a performance, 143 yards on 20 carries, 1 touchdown. Sam Darnold played really well, 301 yards, 2 touchdowns. DJ Moore with 113 yards and 2 touchdowns too as well. But the Zeke and that offense ran all over Carolina's defense, which was shocking, because Carolina's defense was doing really good the past couple weeks, but they ran over them like crazy though, and they beat the Panthers 36-28 right there. So that played really well too as well. He's been elevated as like an elite quarterback now. We kind of saw him as an average quarterback at the beginning, but then he really elevated himself though to being an elite quarterback. So that definitely shout out to Dak right there. They scored 20 points in the third quarter, but they pick up the victory 36-28, giving Carolina their first loss. The Colts versus the Dolphins. The Colts actually pick up the first victory. Wow, that is impressive. Carson Wentz 228 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor 103 yards and a touchdown. Pretty much the Dolphins just could not just get it together. They just could not get it together. Only scored 3 points in the first half, but the fourth quarter they scored 14 points. But the Colts scored double figures in the third or fourth quarter, and they just basically just gave them, they could not stop Colts offensively in that second half. So congratulations to the Colts. 27-17. The Browns versus Vikings. I really don't want to talk about this because the Vikings only scored 7 points, and that was only in the first quarter too. So that's just awful. But that credit to the Browns defense for definitely shutting down the Vikings offense though. But the Browns pick up the victory 14-7. Kirk Cousins 203 yards and a touchdown. Baker Mayfield played really well too as well. Nick Chubb only 100 yards, 21 carries, no touchdowns. Justin Jefferson 84 yards and a touchdown. Give credit to the Browns defense and the Browns offense. It was pretty much a grind out physical game though. So but yeah, the Browns defense, give them a lot of credit though. A lot of credit. Basically just shut down the Vikings after the first quarter. The Giants versus the Saints. Man, it's been a really good Sunday for New York fans, and both the Giants and the Jets too as well. The Giants pick up their first victory 27-21 behind Daniel Jones, 402 yards and 2 touchdowns, and also Saquon Barkley played really well too as well. And that was in overtime. Saquon Barkley gave the game-winning touchdown. And we kept talking about that Jameis Winston he needs to be elite, but he's not really elite though. But he'll play because he plays consistent, but not really consistent at times though. But the Giants actually played really well. They played really well. 27-21 away at New Orleans. So shout out to the Giants. Kenny Golladay played really well, 6 receptions, 116 yards. And now let's get to the game that really shocked me. Well, I thought the Titans would blow out the Jets. The Jets actually picked up the victory, and this was in overtime too as well, 27-24, where we saw Zach Wilson play his best performance yet as a rookie quarterback. Ryan Tannehill, 30 out of 49, 298 yards and a touchdown. Derrick Henry, 33 carries, 157 yards and a touchdown. Corey Davis from the Jets balled out, 111 yards, 1 touchdown, only on 4 receptions. And Titans lost to the Jets 27-24. Wow. The Chiefs versus the Eagles, Jalen Hurts versus Patrick Mahomes, and man, it was really not really a close game. 42-30 the Kansas City Chiefs. Jalen Hurts had 387 yards, 2 touchdowns, but Patrick Mahomes to Tyreek Hill, that combination was so deadly. 186 yards for Tyreek Hill, 3 touchdowns on 11 receptions. Clyde Edwards played really well, 14 carries, 102 yards. Kansas City are now 2-2. Eagles are 1-3. This is the game that everybody was talking about. The Cardinals versus the Rams. 2 undefeated teams. The Rams felt good after beating the Bucs last week, pretty much handily. And the Cardinals came out and destroyed the Rams. The Rams couldn't do anything. That defense from the Cardinals destroyed the Rams offense. And Kyler Murray put on a show. Put on a show. Like, it was just unbelievable. Kyler Murray performed outdoor Matthew Stafford, even though Matthew Stafford had 280 yards and 2 touchdowns. But man, Arizona came out big, 37-20. So shout out to Kyler Murray and the Arizona Cardinals. Still undefeated, they're 4-0. They could win. They could win that division. It's either them or the Rams if they could keep winning out though. Seahawks versus 49ers. Give Seahawks a lot of credit for getting the victory 28-21 against a really good 49ers team. Jimmy Garoppolo had 165 yards and 1 touchdown. Russell Wilson had 3 total touchdowns. Deebo Samuel from San Francisco played really well with 156 yards and 2 TDs too as well. Now Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt and they put Trey Lance in. He played really well, but they still lost though. But we don't know, and we know that Jimmy G might be out for a little bit. So Trey Lance going to get some more reps and will probably be starting Sunday. We just have to wait and see though. But the Seahawks are 2-2, and the 49ers are 2-2 too as well. So the Ravens versus the Broncos. Lamar Jackson, 316 yards, 1 touchdown. 23-7 Ravens victory. Latavius Murray, 59 yards and a touchdown. Marquise Brown, 91 yards and a touchdown. I mean, the Broncos were undefeated and they lost to a good team because they didn't really play a lot of people the first couple of weeks of the season, even though they were undefeated. But they played against a really good team with the Ravens, and pretty much Lamar Jackson just kind of just knocked them out the park. So, oh, I like to say that here. And the Steelers versus the Packers. Aaron Rodgers, unbelievable, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns. 27-17. The Steelers need to think about that Ben Roethlisberger situation. Your defense is a really championship caliber defense, but you got to do something in that quarterback position. Like Mike Tomlin needs to talk to Ben Roethlisberger and be like, "Hey Ben, you might as well just go ahead and retire, just because you're not the same no more." So they really have to give him that Eli treatment for like they did when they put Daniel Jones as a starter. Even though some people would not like that, but I mean, if you want to win and you don't want to be under 500 for the first time in your career, Matt Tomlin, you need to sit Big Ben down. Even though I think he's probably the best to help you win in situations, but sometimes you might have to start them young quarterbacks that you have, Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph, though. So you just have to do it. But Aaron Rodgers and Randall Cobb, just that connection they have, really help beat the Steelers, though. So. And then the Sunday night game, everybody was talking about Tom Brady returning to New England. Well, the Buccaneers go against the Patriots, and this one, Tom Brady, that was not Tom Brady's best game. It was more of a manageable game for Tom Brady. It was just, he was struggling because that defense from the Patriots, like Judon, really played really well. Belichick was giving Tom Brady problems with the defensive play calling, and the offense couldn't really get into the rhythm. It was just crazy to see. It was shocking to see because you thought they could get 3 or 4 or 5 touchdowns. It was raining too as well. But Matt Jones played really well. He played really well. Give credit to Matt Jones. 31 out of 40, 275 yards, 2 touchdowns. Patriots lost on a missed 56-yard field goal. I mean, goodness gracious. It was just unbelievable. But it was just it was not really a high-scoring game. 19-17, Tom Brady is undefeated against Bill Belichick. On his return to New England and got a Super Bowl over him. But it was great that they hugged it out and everything after the game. I know they miss each other, so definitely it was a warm feeling. It was emotional. I know Tom Brady was getting all the emotion he needed right there because this was his home that he built for years. The greatest quarterback of all time, the greatest quarterback to ever wear a New England Patriots uniform by far. But the Buccaneers won 19-17. They are now 3-1. And then last night's game, the Raiders versus the Chargers, where we saw Justin Herbert, 222 yards to 3 touchdowns. The Chargers are for real. They are for real. That defense they have, man, really got to Derek Carr. But, Derek Carr played all right. He played exceptionally well. Austin Eckler, 117 yards, 1 touchdown, and 15 carries. Jared Cook, 70 yards, a touchdown, only 6 receptions. The Raiders could not do anything in the first half, but then they scored 14 points, all in the third quarter, but they couldn't do anything in the fourth quarter. But Chargers took up the victory 28-14, giving the Raiders their first loss of the season, so they're not undefeated no more. So that was the NFL recap of week 4. We can't wait to see what week 5 becomes. We might see the Meyer lap dance show on each games. You might have to check it out on the NFL app. I'm just joking. Comment down below. Tell me your biggest winner, your biggest loser, your biggest overreaction, most impressive victory, most disappointing victory. Anything, comment down below. Definitely subscribe to Off the Ball Network for more content. Definitely check us out on our social media platforms and check out offtheballnetwork.com for all your sports needs, articles, podcasts, everything you need on offtheballnetwork.com. I'm JP, and we are out of here. Peace.